The government of Kenya is keen on the development of social economic infrastructure to support the realization of the Big Four agenda and Vision 2030. The ambitious infrastructure projects are aimed at opening up the country for business and bolster productivity, particularly in the agricultural, manufacturing and the service industry, as this would bolster employment opportunities. Part of these critical infrastructure projects include the ongoing 27-kilometer expressway linking Nairobi's Jomo Kenyatta International Airport and Nairobi's Westlands. Upon completion, the expressway will exponentially reduce travel times within Nairobi and thus help the country save man-hours, which is being lost in the traffic jams on a daily basis. The Lake Victoria Port Modernization Project to increase a cargo handling capacity of the port and to increase Kenya's bilateral and multilateral trading within the region. The expansion of healthcare facilities to facilitate fruition of the country's universal healthcare coverage under the Big Four agenda. By speeding up movement of people and goods, the government is aiming to promote trading through reduction of travel times and costs. Very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us today. And a very happy Madaraka Day to all Kenyans watching this morning as the country celebrates 58 years of independence here. So thank you so much, and good afternoon, good evening to our viewers who are watching us across the continent. My name is Miriam Mugutu, and today we do have a special coverage live from Kisumu, as we do have one of our reporters there at Kisumu shall be bringing us live events where President Uhuru Kenyatta will be leading the country in this year's celebrations right from the lakeside city of Kisumu. And Samuel Tawish, a very good morning to you. Very well, as we wait for Samuel.
Good morning, Miriam. Good morning, Miriam. Indeed, I'm coming to you live from Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium right here in Kisumu, a place where we are expecting President Uhuru Kenyatta alongside other dignitaries really to arrive here so that we can have a celebration, national celebrations of the Madaraka Day today, Miriam.
All right, very well. Thank you, Samuel Tawish, and he shall be bringing us the latest from live from that event at Kisumu. On the panel, I'm also joined by Dr. Joseph Nyanchama. Daktari, a very good morning to you, and nice to have you on the show this morning.
Good morning, Miriam, Tawish, and Karanja. I'm glad to be here this morning.
Okay, nice to have you. And we are also joined by Jeevan Karanja, all the way from Nanyuki. Jeevan, a very good morning to you. Jeevan, good morning. All right, very well. So before I even get into the headlines this morning, as all of them have captured today's event, Madaraka Pride, that is the Daily Nation's headline there, saying Kisumu steps forward to host national celebrations marking 58 years since Kenya gained self-governance. And then red carpet and 21-gun salute for Burundi President Evariste Ndayishimiye, followed by trade agreements, and then projects. President Kenyatta commissions a shipyard, cargo ship and marine school at long-awaited Kisumu port, and construction of new ships expected to create more than 1,000 jobs for locals and boost ferrying of goods. Samuel Tawish, I'm sure you attended one as this commissioning yesterday. Could you tell us more about it?
Very well, thank you so much, Miriam, the panelists who are lined up to speak, of course, to make analysis of what will be happening today in as far as Madaraka Day celebrations are concerned. Indeed, I'm coming to you live from the Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium right here in Kisumu. It's adjacent to Mamboleo, that is along Kisumu Kakamega Road, about 7 kilometers or so from the central, that is Kisumu city. This is where we will be having the national celebrations for Madaraka Day, and any moment from now, indeed, we will be expecting President Uhuru Kenyatta alongside our First Lady, that is Margaret Kenyatta, to arrive here with other leaders so that we can commemorate this day here today. But again, answering your question, Miriam, regarding what transpired here yesterday, And of course, the day before yesterday, that was on Saturday, on Sunday, beg your pardon, when President Uhuru Kenyatta actually landed in Kisumu. It was more of a busy kind of schedule or itinerary, if you like, for President Uhuru Kenyatta, especially with the launch and commissioning of various government projects that his administration has been undertaking, especially in the lakeside city of Kisumu and largely the Nyanza region, that is Migori, Siaya, Homa Bay, Kisii, Nyamira, and of course, as we speak now, most of those projects really have actually been completed, and they have been completed within timelines. And there are some which President Uhuru Kenyatta has indeed commissioned, which we expect, and he has promised that at least by the time he exits office as president come next year, they will have been completed, or at least they will be in 3/4% completion. So that essentially means that President Kenyatta is so much determined to ensure that the aspect of the development is carried out.
Mm-hmm. We apologize, a bit of a technical hitch there on Samuel Tawish's side, a bit of a internet problem. As Tawish, good morning. All right, the reception there is not very good. I really wanted to hear, especially about the attendance, because we know that for you to attend that event today, you're supposed to have an invite. It was an invite only a celebration there, because of course of the new situation that we are dealing with right now on the pandemic, COVID-19. So the stadium cannot hold people to capacity. So I think 3,000 people were the ones that were invited. So what I wanted to know from Tawish, did the residents there adhere to this, or were there some people who perhaps tried to make their way into that stadium who did not have the invite? Tawish.
Who is among the chief guests will be addressing, or rather gracing this occasion today. So essentially, that is how things are. We are expecting any time from now, of course. The program as it is here is about 10:40. We are waiting to the arrival of the cabinet secretaries, the chief justice, that is the president of the Supreme Court, Martha Koome, speaker of the National Assembly, as well as of the Senate, that is Ken Lusaka. Then later on, of course, after that, we'll be having a guard of honor marches to the position, and Deputy President William Ruto is expected to arrive at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport here in Kisumu at around 10:45 a.m. Thereafter, His Excellency the President Kenyatta and Her Excellency the First Lady Margaret Kenyatta will.
Very well. Okay, those are just a bit of a challenge.
President, that is Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, and our First Lady Margaret Kenyatta will be arriving here. And thereafter, the President Kenyatta, of course, will be inspecting the guard of honor that will be actually here raised by the Kenya Defense Forces, that is of the Kenya Air Force, the Kenya Navy, and the Kenya Army. So basically, that is what it is as it is now. Not so many of the dignitaries have indeed arrived here. Maybe in the next few minutes or so, we anticipate that more of the guests will be trooping in so that they can actually commemorate with the people of Kisumu this Madaraka Day celebrations, Miriam.
All right, Tawish, earlier on I was asking, because we know that for those who are attending this event today, they were invited, so you have to have an invite, for you to be part of that celebrations inside that stadium, obviously because of the challenges of COVID-19 and social distancing. Have there been any people there, the residents of Kisumu, who perhaps have tried making their way there who do not have invites? Have there any incidents of the sort?
Well, Miriam, earlier on, of course, as we are coming in here, remember the members of the fourth estate were asked to be here at least before 7 a.m. in the morning. So most of us really made our way here at around 6 or so, 6 in the morning, just to make sure that we are not actually caught up with the kind of confusion that, of course, characterizes such kind of events every other time. But again, we've seen some members of the public who attempted to make their way into this stadium. But again, like I told you, the protocol here is very clear. And if you do not have an accreditation card or a letter of invitation for you to attend this particular event, then you will not be allowed to actually access this stadium. The stadium has about, I think, over 5 gates to be specific, and there's one gate which is designated for VIPs, that is President Uhuru Kenyatta and other high dignitaries. The other one is for members of the public who are invited for this event. The other one is for the members of the press. The other one is for the security apparatus, and there are others also who are partaking, for example, in entertaining guests in this particular event. So everything is done in a meticulous way, in that if you do not have accreditation card to attend this particular event, then you will not definitely have access to this particular place. Right at the entrance there, you'll have, of course, to wash your hands, you'll have to sanitize, and you'll have to be measured your temperature, whether really you can be allowed to access this particular place. And also you'll have to be frisked, so that just to ensure once you get in here, you cannot be of potential risk or a security threat to those who are attending this particular celebration. So as it is now, most of the members of the public really who do not have the accreditation or do not have the letters that grants them entry to this particular place are outside the stadium, perhaps just waiting if they could maybe at long last be allowed to enter into this stadium. But it's something I'm not very sure if the security apparatus are going to allow this to happen, Miriam.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll be coming to you in a few minutes to bring us the latest, but continue keeping safe there. Samuel Tawish coming to us from the lakeside city of Kisumu with the latest, where President Uhuru Kenyatta will be leading this year's 58th celebrations of Madaraka Day. And of course, the chief guest on this year's celebration is none other than Burundian President Evariste Ndayishimiye. And so back to our headline this morning, the same thing, and the stories on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. Kisumu's big day as Kenyans trade deals, 21 gun salute, celebrate 58th Madaraka feat for Burundian President. Kenya's lakeside city Kisumu takes center stage today as the country turns its focus on the Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium for this year's Madaraka Day celebrations. President Kenyatta and his Burundi counterpart Evariste Ndayishimiye are expected to lead the country in marking the day when in 1963 the country attained internal self-rule after decades of colonial rule. This is the first time since independence that Kisumu will host the national feat in line with the Jubilee administration's policy of rotating the celebrations across the country. So, Dr. Nyanchama, obviously this is a big deal. It is the first time Kisumu gets to host such an important national celebration.
Well, thank you, Miriam. Karanja, I can see you. Thank you very much. We have had a clear information from Tawish. Absolutely, Miriam. I think this is one of the most historic moments for the Kisumu people. They are joyous people. I've been there personally. They call it Kisumu Dala. In fact, don't forget, Miriam, that Kisumu is surrounded by, in fact, the world's largest fresh lake. This country, as much as we are celebrating the political freedom, there are enormous resources, in fact, which Kisumu can offer such an economic status of the Western region by virtue of that resource. I think, in short, what I will say is that this is a momentous occasion for the Kisumu people, because it is the first time, I think, Madaraka Day to be held there, and that's why you see a lot of excitement. Why you see a lot of vigilance, and because excitement, because people are excited and they are in high spirit, which is in a positive sense. But then also on the other hand, we have to manage the COVID-19 epidemic, and I think it's a joyous moment. Don't forget, I also come from Nyanza region. It is a joyous time. This freedom, we need to take advantage of it and now move to the economic freedom, which the president now, it preceded this. That is why I was opening various projects. For now, Miriam, I submit.
Okay. Thank you so much. And this is the first time since independence that Kisumu will host the national feat in line with the Jubilee's administration's policy rotating the celebration across the country. The choice of Kisumu to host this year's celebrations is particularly symbolic, coming on the final full year of Mr. Kenyatta's presidential and 4 years into the handshake agreement with opposition leader Raila Odinga. Ejevan Karanja, the significance of having this event there in Kisumu, especially on the backdrop of that handshake with President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Thank you very much, Miriam, and happy Madaraka Day to all our viewers wherever they are watching us from. Indeed, it's a joyous moment, not only for the people of Kisumu, but for the people of Kenya at large, because we are celebrating 58 years since we got our self-rule, Miriam. Therefore, that is something that we need to celebrate. And as we have the self-rule, Miriam, there are still things that need to be done to ensure that this country really have the freedom in terms of the political, the space of expression and so on. But more importantly, the economic prosperity. I think we are not there, but we are heading on the right trajectory in terms of having economic freedom. But having self-rule, Miriam, is something that we need to celebrate, because we have made quite good strides in ensuring that we have a constitution, we have devolution, we have other good things, Miriam, that have come out of that self-rule that our forefathers fought hard to ensure that today we celebrate these fruits. On the issue of Kisumu now hosting, I know the mood there is joyous mood. The guys are they are on a celebration mood, because Miriam, is not a joke, Miriam. When these celebrations comes to your county, Miriam, especially the stadium, they are renovated, Miriam, and when these events goes, the stadiums are left in a very good condition. Therefore, the people around there, they'll have a place where they can go and play football and other games. Also to that, the hotel, the hospitality industry also booms up like big time. And when you look at the issue of the kind of the tourist destination that we have in Kisumu, therefore, I know people are quite making good profits. Also, it encourages domestic tourism. There are people maybe who have not been in Kisumu, but because of this event going to Kisumu, Miriam, it is positioning Kisumu as a city where everybody, even us who are maybe not there today, may wish to go, because of the kind of things that we are seeing being posted on social media and the kind of reports that you are getting from the other media outlets. Therefore, it gives a chance for other people in future to try and see what is good in this city that people are celebrating. Therefore, at the end of the day, you'll see a number of Kenyans, Miriam, out of these celebrations, wanting to go and visit the city of Kisumu. And Miriam, finally, Miriam, I can't imagine if we had no COVID-19. Miriam, the stadium could have been full to capacity, because I know the people of Kisumu, they are people who celebrate things in a quite big way. I usually see them when we have Gor Mahia and AFC Leopards, the kind of madoido that they bring on to ensure that everything is on the right mood. But now, because of the COVID restriction, Miriam, I know they will be following from home. And Miriam, out of this Madaraka Day going to Kisumu, a lot of good developmental and big infrastructural developments have been commissioned by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Therefore, it is indeed a very good thing. And we wish, Miriam, before President Uhuru goes, because now, he has been almost to our region. Now, I hope he'll go to Rift Valley and the northeastern part of this country, because, Miriam, they have not held these activities since independence, so that they can also have a feel of what other Kenyans are feeling. And these things are clearly bringing the issue of inclusivity, Miriam, at the end of the day. Thank you very much. I submit.
I really do agree with you, Ejevan Karanja, because we know, especially the parts of this country, that I would say, okay, I'm going to Kenya. So when they come to Nairobi, that's when they felt they're coming to Kenya. They never felt like they're part of Kenya. And growing up, I used to hear these jokes, and I thought it was jokes, but I had a better understanding why they did not feel as if though they were part of the greater country that is Kenya, and because everything was centralized here. So with devolution, I think we're starting to see a bit of inclusivity there, and the issue of rotating such important national celebrations to other places. And maybe next time I'd like to see, you're saying, I would like to see one go to a place like, say, Turkana. I think I'll be happy to see that. But has it captured the true spirit of our devolution, this rotation of national celebrations? Samuel, I wish if you can hear me, and will it act to bring as something to bring Kenyans together and for us to feel we are part of? He's not. Okay, he's not there. Dr. Nyanchama.
Yeah, for ordinary people, Miriam, like you and I, it captures that spirit, when it is President Uhuru Kenyatta who started to announce the rotational celebrations of national days. It went to cost one time, I remember. Excitement was equally great, like the one of Kisumu. But the people of Kisumu, for example, it is a gift. They are endowed with the gift of celebration. You see, any person can celebrate, but there is a category of people who have a gift. But the people who usually bring problems when such a rotational plans are made so that each county or region of counties enjoy such a glamorous occasions is that politicians tend to read too much. You see already they started reading that Uhuru Kenyatta is taking too much resources to the Nyanza region, and then the handshake had hidden agenda. I mean, that is narrowlistic, some politicians, I don't know how they think. I hope you saw what some are saying, but the spirit behind it is great. In fact, it can even increase what we call the inclusivity, which the president's agenda has been advocating for a long time. Such a rotational aspect of it can also enhance it. What I want to caution also politicians, sometimes it's good to be realistic, not to read too much. There's nothing like the president going to Nyanza to be favoring the former prime minister. This thing was planned that this time, Madaraka Day, was going to be celebrated in Nyanza. But I think the spirit behind it is great, and it needs to be supported by every good-meaning Kenyan. I submit.
All right, thank you. And now Kisumu is Mr. Odinga's home city and was particularly hard hit by the political violence that followed the disputed 2017 general election. The political truce between the two ushered in an era of intense national government attention on the region that was culminated on the launch of multiple development projects since Sunday. Yesterday, the President commissioned Kenya Shipyards Limited, the refurbished MV Uhuru cargo ship, and the new Kenya Railways Marine School, which are key components of the revamped Kisumu port, as he promised to return later to finish launching the remaining projects. And this is what President Kenyatta said. This is a dream our forefathers had, but died because of our weaknesses. We have started to revive the dream so that our youths will have good jobs. This dream is being actualized because of the peace we have, the president said, referring to the fruits of the political dente with Mr. Odinga. The historic, background on especially President Uhuru Kenyatta's and Raila Odinga's newfound friendship and partnership there. I think it goes back to their fathers, our first founding fathers, the first president of the Republic of Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta, and then Raila's father, Jaramogi Oginga. There was some history there, and we've seen the efforts being that the two now are making. And some Kenyans would think perhaps they will be the right people to correct some of the wrongs from the past. Jevan Karanja, historically, the importance of what we're seeing right now, because the last time Kenyatta was there, the founding father, it was not very good.
Thank you very much,
history,
Miriam.
That's what I read from history.
And
yes.
Maybe if my memory serves me well, I think it was in 1969.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm wrong, I beg to be corrected. Mm-hmm. But you know what happened, and maybe it has been bitter, Miriam, since that day. To date, Miriam, Luos and Kikuyus and the Odingas, and maybe I will not talk of Odingas and Kenyatta because at personal level, maybe they are friends because you have seen them cooperate in business. But the tribe that they came from, Miriam, they have been having that kind of a bitter relationship. And you could see even Kikuyus and Luos, we have not been even going the same path politically. And unless in 2002 when Kibaki, Raila said Kibaki Tosha. But these things, Miriam, when we have the handshake, Miriam, things have stabilized, Miriam. The political temperature have cooled down. And that hatred, Miriam, has in a way, Miriam, faded away. These days, Miriam, even as where we come from, Mount Kenya region. This day we take trip and go to Kisumu and we feel at home. And those guys celebrate us and they say, here ni watu wa nyumbani. Therefore, this kind of environment, Miriam, I think is a very good, Miriam. And we encourage, Miriam, if a lot of intermarriages between these two communities, Miriam, so that we can see if in future, Miriam, we can deal with these things one and for all. And these things, Miriam, have culminated and halted the political career of former Prime Minister Odinga, to a point that Kikuyus, they feel like this is an enemy. These are monster who they are electing as president, and these are reasons why. If you look at since Raila Odinga started running for the presidency, the people from Mount Kenya region, they have not been supporting him, not because he is bad, not because he has anything he can't do to take this country to the next level, but because of that kind of hatred and some other conspiracies that have been formed around the Luo and the Kikuyus. And Miriam, you remember, even it was hard for Raila Odinga to campaign in Mount Kenya region. You remember the last time he was in Githurai, all the kind of dramas that we experienced. All these things are not coming because of the character of a former prime minister, but because of that thing, of that past dark history that occurred in our country. Therefore, Miriam, when we see these kind of things happening, Miriam, as a Kenya, I feel quite happy, because I know we are building a nation where everybody will feel as part of this country, where the kind of historical injustices, historical mistreatments that happened in future, Miriam, we are barring them and we are starting afresh. Because, Miriam, we cannot be passing bad things or bad memories to our children and our generation to come, and these things, Miriam, even the people who committed them, they are long gone. Therefore, we need to ensure that we start passing the right memories to our kids, memories to cherish, memory that will make even the younger generation to have a sense of patriotism, to have a sense of taking this country to the next level. Therefore, I see this is a very good move, Miriam. And Miriam, before that, in 1969, Jomo Kenyatta and the vice president of our country, Mzee Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, Miriam, they had a very good kind of a relationship, Miriam. They fought together. They came together. Despite them coming from different cultural background, coming from different regions, they joined hands to ensure that we have freedom that we enjoy today. Therefore, that is something that we must give credit to them. Although they had other mistakes that came along, that thing giving us freedom, Miriam, is something that we need to cherish. And we need to see the bigger picture, that if we come together as Kenyans, despite our culture, despite our religion, despite our beliefs, despite our interests, Miriam, and we forge one interest of making this country great, taking this country to the next level, Miriam, we can achieve greatness. If they were able to chase the colonial masters out of this country, Miriam, we can be able to do great things. We can be able to achieve economic prosperity. We can be able to have social cohesion. We can be able to kill corruption and tribalism in this country, Miriam, because he set us a good example. And we need to emulate that so that we can take this country to even higher heights in terms of its growth. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Dr. Janchama, probably you have a better history, the historical significance of this event today. These two brothers, we know their fathers were colleagues, but later on fell out, and did not have quite a good relationship after that because of the political differences. But are we likely to see, as a lot of Kenyans perhaps are saying or are hoping, that these two, President Uhuru Kenyatta and opposition leader Raila Odinga, might help in rewriting the history of this country, and perhaps this acrimony between certain communities might be rectified, and perhaps might put the country forward to a path of just peace and prosperity and stability?
Absolutely, Miriam. Firstly, let me speak from the biblical perspective. These two sons of the of the former leaders who at a stage they became rivals. If you take a man like David in the Bible and Solomon his son, Solomon did not fight the wars of his father David. He fought the wars of his generation as a young man. I think in the same respect that the current president of the Republic of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, if you have to take the country forward, then you must bring a perspective that you cannot continue living the times of a different generation, because the country would be stagnating. I think in this respect, they coming together, our sons of the former rivals, I think they're sending a very clear message to the Republic in particular as a sign of peace and unity. Because as one man said that if you are excited or agonizing yesterday's events, then it means today you haven't done much. The president has a heavy responsibility and is aware that, you cannot step into the future. You can create it. And you can't create the future when you are stepping on a ground of conflict and mistrust. So if you have to create the future, a future where the current generation or young generation have to survive in, then you must create a conducive environment. And this coming together of the two sons of the former rivals is a pointer to that. Mm-hmm. And I think Uhuru Kenyatta, as the current president, indeed is a man who's serious to leave a legacy, not only from the development perspective, but from also the intangible aspect of peace, which is very critical, because you cannot talk of physical infrastructure without touching the soft part of it, which is the peace amongst the people, the Kenyan people. Because when people work together, they can catapult this country to a level that we never imagined to attain. And I think this is a good thing from my end, and I wish him well. The beauty about our president is a very receptive man, because you remember even the current former president of Tanzania said that when his mother met the current president, he told him that this young man is a very good man. In fact, and many people have even confessed that if you meet him, he's a man who connects easily and very quickly. And I think we should take advantage of that demeanor and let us come together to unite the nation. And I'm happy that it's beginning from that part of this country. Mm-hmm. And I think this is a good gesture, and it needs to be supported and encouraged by every well-meaning Kenyan. I submit me.
Thank you so much. And Javan Karanja, our former late president, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, the second president of the Republic of Kenya, used to say, siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. And so we've seen President Uhuru Kenyatta and opposition leader Raila Odinga putting the political differences aside and coming together and engage in politics that moves people forward and brings development like we're seeing now happening. Because when you put too much politics aside, then you're able to have a conducive environment to actually do things that matter to Kenyans. Could the rest of our political leadership perhaps borrow a leaf? There's a time for politics, but there's a time to just put the politics aside and focus on what Kenyans need. Could they borrow something from this friendship or this partnership President Uhuru Kenyatta has with his big brother, as he's termed, Raila Odinga?
Yeah, thank you very much, Miriam. And Miriam, apart from them coming together and ensuring that we have the political development that we have in this country, they are also creating a perception in Kenyans that politics is not a do or die kind of an event. Politics is not hatred. It's not a amenity. Because nowadays, Miriam, we have, in politics, we don't support the same lines. There are those who support the deputy president, there are those who support the former prime minister, Musalia Mudavadi, and others. And Miriam, the people have been having problems is their supporters. But out of this handshake, Miriam, the mentality of Kenyans was set right, that politics is not a do or die. Politics is friendship. You just disagree on some issues, but we are all Kenyans, Miriam. These days, Miriam, even if you have a contrary opinion, in a majority where people are supporting a different opinion, Miriam, they will listen to you and they will not have bad blood because you are supporting a different opinion. And that's something that have been cultivated and brought into limelight by the handshake. Therefore, it's a very good gesture. Therefore, other leaders, they should also understand that there is time. And these things, Miriam, and in Kenya, we are known that we go politics a full term. And after another term, Miriam, we restart the politics. And we have no time to reflect on the developmental agenda. We need to have leaders who will start, if elections ends today, Miriam, and the winners are announced and everything is set in order and they are soon in office, Miriam, they need to go and start working for the people who have given them mandate without all this kind of hatred and prolonged politics and guys coming up with new ambitions and so on, wasting our time and wasting our resources, whereas they are supposed to be developing this country. Therefore, they need not to think about the next elections. They need to start thinking about the generation, this generation, the next generation, how Kenyans will get employed, how Kenyans, the young people will go to schools, and how other things that matter to the economy will be made right, but not about this politics and thinking about the next election every time. Therefore, they need to understand that under President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Prime Minister have shown it clearly that if we can come together without these harmful and bitter politics, toxic politics that we have in the country, we can do great things, Miriam. There, Nyanza, the Western Kenya, Miriam, they were perceived to be opposition stronghold, but they're enjoying the fruits of their taxes because of this handshake. Therefore, we need to understand that when we can come together and settle and we work harmoniously to take this country to the next level, we can do great things, Miriam. Because I think and I hope that every leader who aspires to become the president, every leader who aspires to lead, Miriam, they do that so that they can better this country. If you lose an election, why not support the one who have won so that you had those manifestos? You can maybe have a way of selling your manifesto to them to see whether they can be implemented. Because if your interest is to take this country to the next level, why not support those who are won? Therefore, we need to have that kind of a culture and an activity, Miriam, so that we take this country to the next level and we make sure that the generation and generations to come, Miriam, they will celebrate what the current leaders are doing. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And just a reminder, President Uhuru Kenyatta will be leading the country in this year's Madaraka Day celebrations, 58th Madaraka Day celebrations, I might add, at the lakeside city of Kisumu. So once the event has started, or once President Uhuru Kenyatta has arrived there, then we shall go straight there for the live feed, our coverage from Kisumu. And of course, our reporter, Samuel Tawish, is there. He's been there since the last 2 days, bringing us the latest from Kisumu. So another story on page 5 of the Daily Nation. Trade deals 21 gun salute for Burundian President. Kenya rolled out a red carpet for visiting Burundian President Evariste Ndayishimiye, who also signed a number of bilateral deals with his host, President Uhuru Kenyatta. The Burundi president, who is in Kenya on a 2-day official visit with his wife Angeline Ndayishimiye, was received by ODM leader Raila Odinga and some cabinet secretaries at the Kisumu International Airport yesterday morning. At the Kisumu State Lodge, he was received by President Kenyatta and First Lady Margaret Kenyatta, where he was accorded a 21 gun salute. Dr. Nyanchama, while I'm reading through this story, I'm just thinking in my head, our Deputy President William Ruto missing such a very important national occasion of great significance. I don't know. What do you think is going through his mind? I know he will be present today at the event at Kisumu, but a lot of these things are very important. And as a deputy president, he was supposed to have been involved, but because of the relationship that he's been having with his boss there, that was not very possible. Do you think maybe things like this make him reflect on certain choices that he perhaps have made politically?
Thank you, Miriam. Mm-hmm. You know, I have said here before that this is the problem of having a clenched fist. The issue of celebrating is not an event, it is a process. So if you miss part of the process of the entire celebration, you really miss the real thing. The issue is not to attend and invite the head of state. I mean, that for me, that's a very small part, and a person can just stand and invite. Can you imagine, Miriam, that that wish told us that the deputy president will land in the airport around 10 something, and then he will go to the celebration side. And you can imagine the way we know the Kenyan scenario. He will only be called upon by the master of ceremony to invite the head of state to address the people of Kenya. I mean, what part is that? That is a very small part. So I think as leaders, we need to come together, and when we begin to celebrate, we need to begin it as a process. All of us need to be seen so that the Kenyan, as a people, see that all our leaders are united, so that no peace is disrupted. The only reason why the deputy president is actually going to Kisumu is because he is obligated not to appear now before the world that he has become defiant. But come to think of it, Miriam, it's really a very, very small part that is going to play. He's not enjoying the entire celebration. You know, when you do a wedding, it is not when you cite the vow. It's the whole process. The jiggy, which begins, the mother's moving. Yes. You know, that is why a bride will tell you now, please make sure that you capture those episodes. That's what makes the celebration click. But the deputy president is missing all this. I'm telling you, is not part of the celebration.
He's not part of the celebration.
Him going there is just
a formality,
an obligation. So I think he needs to reflect on this, and they come together. Really, it doesn't augur well, and I want to urge that. Let me say something else. That please, the leaders who continue to abuse the head of state, it is not Uhuru Kenyatta. It is the head of a nation that holds the fabric together. And that is why I've said before, if you have to injure me, you will be accused of assaulting me. But if you injure head of state in any manner, it's a national incident. Because our head of state is a personification of a nation. That is why I want to appeal to the leaders who make even very bad comical words to the head of state to refrain. And we need a lot of reflection, Miriam, as you have said, and the TB2 needs to reflect on this matter. I don't think it's part of the celebration. He has missed the real celebration. I submit.
Okay. Evan Karanja, Doc has said he's missed because his part today will be very minimal, just calling on President Uhuru Kenyatta, but he's missed yesterday's celebration, he's missed the preparations of this all, and that is where the meat is, that is where the heart of the celebration is. Do you think when things like this happen, perhaps Deputy President William Ruto sits down and maybe reflects on some of the choices that he has made, politically?
Miriam, I do not maybe know whether the Deputy President regrets the choices that he has made politically, because Miriam, the choices that he's made to me, I call them sacrifices. He is sacrificing himself so that he can at least get some votes for the people he calls hustlers. Because Miriam, if he wants that agenda to sell, Miriam, he must dissociate himself from the people he is terming as dynasties. And I think these are some of the sacrifices that he is willing to take, maybe even to the ballot, if it means so that maybe he can at least see whether he will get some votes. Because when you look at his agenda, Miriam, it is mainly rotating around the issue of hustlers, the issue of wheelbarrownomics, and other issues that to him things they resonate well with the common man. Therefore, I think these are some of the things that he is willing to do. But Miriam is so unfortunate that we elected him to go and help the president to accomplish his duties. But he sidelined himself, Miriam, and to me, I feel like maybe he still have some regrets, Miriam, because at the end of the day, Miriam, with this kind of bitter relationship, Miriam, with the president and president coming from Mount Kenya region, and he has backed on Mount Kenya region for the support, Miriam, for his presidential ambition. And if that one will not materialize, Miriam, then his chances of becoming the president, Miriam, are very slim. Therefore, I think, yes, he has made some things, but he has made some mistakes as well. Maybe it sits well with his political mobility, upward mobility, in terms of eyeing the presidency. But Miriam, there are some mistakes that he has made, because now he has lost some allies, he has lost some leaders. Now they call themselves Kieleweke. When you go to the former NASA brigade, Miriam, they are supporting a different wave called One Kenya Alliance. We have the handshake, Miriam. I think, Miriam, he looks more of an isolated man. He isolated himself. He looks more of an island. And I think in politics, that is not a good gesture, because you cannot make it alone. You need others to support you. And the guys who are supporting him, Miriam, they are not political heavyweights. He is being supported by new arrivals in the political arena. He is being supported by new first-term members of parliament. Therefore, I think he isolated himself in one way or the other in hope of getting some votes from majority of the guys he calls hustler. But Miriam, his role today is just welcoming the president, and I think it's constitutional. And Miriam, these big events, Miriam, as the deputy president, he needs to attend, because in any case, Miriam, in the absence of the president, Miriam, the deputy is the one who takes the leadership. Therefore, he needs also to try and see, to come to these events. But Miriam, as the doctor has said, Miriam, the main events, all the preparation and the big things, Miriam, happened the past 2 days. And Miriam, you know, he is not even part of guys who are preparing this event. He just go and, as an ordinary man, despite that he has a title of a deputy president, because other members of parliament, he is just there like any ordinary Kenya, despite his title as the deputy president of Kenya. But I hope in future, Miriam, we learn something from this kind of fallout between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto, so that in future, Miriam, the leaders will try to see, if you are elected as a payer, Miriam, make sure that you complete your term with that kind of payer, because Miriam, the fallout, Miriam, has also affected the ruling party Jubilee. Therefore, these guys, because they have a big number they control, they have a majority who follows them, they need to ensure that they remain concrete, so that, Miriam, at the end of the day, the people of Kenya will not have kind of anxiety that we are having. Because when you go to Rift Valley, Miriam, they are not sitting plenty, because they feel like maybe any time the deputy president can be impeached. They think there's a man who was to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta. Therefore, they are not at peace. And I have seen them calling, also the president, making calls that they need to see President Uhuru Kenyatta to talk some developmental agenda, because they have realized that with deputy president who comes from their backyard, Miriam, there's nothing much he is doing. He is just there. He is just there in the paper, or he is just there as a figure of deputy president, but he has no wings to operate. That is why they feel like they need to talk to president, so that maybe they can talk of one or two developmental projects on their side. But Miriam is so unfortunate, because they have been the guys who have been undermining the president since day one. Therefore, the reality is hitting them hard, that maybe things are changing slowly, and they are realizing that their term is coming to an end, and they have not delivered anything for their people. Therefore, it is high time that leaders concentrate on the mandate they are given to people. If you're a member of parliament, concentrate with your constituency. The time to deal with the national politics will come, and we are given a window to campaign. Therefore, leaders should first deliver to the people without engaging in this kind of sideshows and so on. But for deputy president, I wish him well as he goes on with his activities, but he should remember that Kenyans have the final say on the ballot. If they agree with his agenda, Miriam, then be it. If they disagree, all the best as he goes to political retirement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, Dr. Nyanchama, there are the people who are of the opinion that the friendship between President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, they term it as just President Kenyatta trying to manage Raila so that he can work and finish his term in peace. And there's nothing more to that. What would you say to the people with that kind of thinking?
Interesting thinking. You know, the problem with the certain perspectives is what we call it the tunnel thinking, that we look at everything from a political angle, that the president is managing Raila so that he has his time to finish his term. Miriam, look at it when it started. When the president met with Raila, did he have finishing his term in mind? I want to tell you, Miriam, without any fear of contradiction here, that at that moment, even you, Miriam, when you saw the direction the nation was going, there is the inside flight, there is that insecurity you felt inside. And these people who are bringing this anger at this moment, I think they are short in memory. Because this partnership came forth with a sincere motive of bringing the nation together. Let's begin from there. And you can see why, in fact, I again respect Uhuru Kenyatta. Let me now say, from my own personal view, when I was witnessing the conflict, the fighting, the prime minister taking a note of the people's president, I started fearing myself that, and praying God that wisdom prevail in Uhuru, because if he could have made a mistake of arresting the former prime minister, Miriam, what do you think could have happened? And I imagine there are these other people who reason in very mediocre. I mean, maybe the president could have had a lot of pressure that why can't you arrest this man? This is treason. You know, it could have been worse. Mm-hmm. But the president chose the wise path of developing a will from within to work with his brother, because the welfare of the people, as I've always said, is the supreme law. Let's begin. They came together with a sincere motive. And those who are saying he's managing him so that he finishes this term peacefully, they need to tell Kenyans at what point then did the narrative change. Mm-hmm. But for me, what I think is that they are only reading it as they see other issues involved, and as we approach in 2022. Mm-hmm. You know, any leader can also see an opportunity that it is a very useful partner going by the current circumstances. Yes, from a political angle, the former prime minister is the best partner Uhuru Kenyatta needs to work with, so that this country is peaceful up to the time he also hands peacefully to the incoming president. You see, he's only saying that the best partner I need to work with until I hand over my power peacefully to the incoming president is this one. And it happens to be now Raila Odinga. Yeah, you see, you choose scenarios. It's not necessary that he finishes his term peacefully, that he hands over his reign of power peacefully. You know, that is the ultimate test of a leader, that when you are given power, you make sure you hand it over peacefully. It's not that he finishes his term peacefully Are they implying that he finishes his term peacefully and leaves it burning? That is what they are implying. They should change it, saying he hands over his power peacefully. Means he hands over a nation to an incoming president, a peaceful nation. If he messes with it, that is his problem. And that's what a leader needs to do. Because a leader is not known by the medals on the chest, Miriam, but by the star at the back. Yes, people must see the star, we, the citizen, in Uhuru Kenyatta. And I think they have missed the interpretation of his action. I think his intention is to hand over power peacefully to this nation. And whoever is coming will also hand it over peacefully to an coming. So it's a relay of peaceful handover. And that is the kind of culture we need to develop in Africa. I think, Miriam, to a certain extent, to a large extent rather, they missed the point.
Okay.
I submit.
All right, thank you so much. As we go over to Kisumu for the live celebrations there, Chevan Karanja, is this a managed Raila project, as others would want to believe?
Thank you very much, Miriam. If it's about managing the former Prime Minister, Raila Odinga, Miriam.
And who can manage Raila? Just to start from there, maybe.
You know, that is the question, because Miriam, you can't manage a grown-up who have been in politics for almost 3 centuries, Miriam. It's hard. If it was about managing him, Miriam, he could started with the second President Moi. But Miriam, when you look at this issue, if it's about managing Raila Odinga in the first term, Miriam, that is the time they could have tamed him, if it's about taming the former Prime Minister. And the Jubilee operated for 5 years, and we went for the election of 2017. Therefore, I don't think this is managing anyone, Miriam. This is a call for unity. And Miriam, in the first day when we had the handshake, in the 9th of March 2018, a lot of people said that this handshake will not go for 2 years. It will not go past 6 months. But Miriam, look at it where we are now. We even have an offspring, courtesy of handshake, called BBI. Therefore, I don't think President Uhuru Kenyatta can go to an extent of going to play this kind of politics, that of managing anyone with the interest of Kenyans. I don't think that will come from any leader. And Miriam, nobody in politics can be managed. And it is, if there's one man who is hard to manage, is the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, because he's a political giant. He knows when, he knows what, and what will not fly, because he has been in the game for many years. Therefore, those who have that opinion, I think it's the right to have that kind of opinion. But on my opinion, I don't see anybody being managed. And handshake is a call for unity, is a call for prosperity, Miriam. What is happening in Kisumu today is courtesy of the handshake, the kind of peace, the heroic reception of President Uhuru Kenyatta is out of this handshake, Miriam. And when you go around the country, Miriam, there is a mood of jubilation. There is a mood of peaceful coexistence, Miriam. You might not notice it, but when you go and have a chat with Kenyans, you see they are in a quite of a relaxed mood. Even as we are approaching elections, nobody is tensed. We feel pretty well where we are, and I have not heard anyone, Miriam, at this point planning to relocate because we are having elections next year. These are kind of things we used to hear in 2013 and previous to 2017. People are planning to evict some places 1 year to general election, but I have not heard any Kenya planning to anywhere to relocate because of we are having an election. Because we feel like we have a peaceful election, we feel that the mechanisms that will be put in place will guarantee Kenya credibility and verifiable election. Therefore, nobody has worry, because we are Kenyans and we have realized that if we come together, great things happen, and this is our country, and we are the only people who can make it great by ensuring that we are not victims to be used by our politicians to cause havoc and mayhem and to destroy property, but our right is to go and vote, and we wait for IBC to do their work.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jevan Karanja from Nanyuke. Thank you, Dr. Joseph Nyanchema, this morning. Thank you, all of you, for your time. And of course, as I said there earlier today, Kenya marks 58 years of independence, and we are having a special coverage of the Madaraka Day celebrations, and we shall go straight to Kisumu, where this year's celebrations are taking place, and President Uhuru Kenyatta is leading the country. And of course, the chief guest is Burundi's President Evariste Ndayishimiye. Nordic Elijah, you're saying happy celebrations, my Kenyan friends, and you're saying you're writing us from Hamburg. You're watching us from Hamburg. Thank you so much. James Vitoro, happy Madaraka to all Kenyans. Thank you so much. Arthur Umbewa, happy Madaraka Day. Welcome to Kisumu Dala, and enjoy your stay. Keep the spirit up, and please, while you're there, Umbewa, please just wear your mask. Make sure you're safe. We need to see you here after a while. Okay, COVID is still a real thing. And then all right, James Victoria saying, let's pray for BBI to survive, so that this good relationship between the two tribes is cemented for life. Long live. I don't think the handshake was about the two tribes. Okay, that's a conversation we will have another day, but I'm sure you'll be watching. James Victoria and the rest of you, thank you so much for your time this morning. So we shall go straight to Kisumu Dala. As Dr. Nyanchema there would say, this has been a special coverage of the Madaraka Day. My name is Miriam Ogutu. A very good morning to you, and I'll see you later. The government of Kenya is keen on the development of social economic infrastructure to support the realization of the Big Four agenda and Vision 2030. The ambitious infrastructure projects are aimed at opening up the country for business and bolster productivity, particularly in the agricultural, manufacturing and the service industry, as this would bolster employment opportunities. Part of these critical infrastructure projects include the ongoing 27-kilometer expressway linking Nairobi's Jomo Kenyatta International Airport and Nairobi's Westlands. Upon completion, the expressway will exponentially reduce travel times within Nairobi and thus help the country save man-hours, which is being lost in the traffic jams on a daily basis. The Lake Victoria Port Modernization Project to increase cargo handling capacity of the port and to increase Kenya's bilateral and multilateral trading within the region. The expansion of healthcare facilities to facilitate fruition of the country's universal healthcare coverage under the Big Four agenda. By speeding up movement of people and goods, the government is aiming to promote trading through reduction of travel times and costs.